Hey, didn't miss this part. It's the preamble, the part of the show where we say clearly and distinctly that we are aware we are being surveilled. We do not like it. We did not ask for it. If someone is making money off of this endeavor, it absolutely is not us. And we'd very much like it to stop. Like, trying to come at you with any sort of logic is actually just a mug's game. Like, that's not what you're interested in. You don't care that your lies are sort of compounded against each other in ways that don't actually stack up because it's not about that. Uh, so I'm not even going to bother. Actually, I was going to launch into a thing. I was going to launch into a thing about hypocrisy and projection. Whatever. It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. It's bad. It's terrible. I dislike being here. But uh, I don't know. I'm stuck between the ideas of like Reverend Brother said, to bring your light into dark places, and Sam Vime saying it's better to light a flamethrower than curse the dark. Hey, speaking of lighting this up, if you can give us any illumination on how the hell this is happening to us, we have an email. It's joinsolace@gmail.com. Um, we're also available on Discord at Joyous Amalgamation. Uh, and we're on the Fediverse at Eternal September at thick.horse. We have never spoken to anyone about this situation directly, or rather, we've tried once or twice with people we thought were friends, and then they vanished from our lives. So that's a thing. Um, but if you're in contact with someone who's claiming to be us, you're not. It doesn't matter what they're telling you about, like, maybe this being kayfabe. I don't know, and I don't give a shit. If you are speaking currently in serious terms to someone about this situation that is claiming to be us, they absolutely motherfucking are not. All right. I'm going to play some music. Then we're going to get into a game. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those who do not feel represented by an oppressive gender binary, hello and welcome. It's good to have you here. Let's do the big flirty intro. I'm your plastic pal who's fun to be with, your punk rock robot from Better Future, the eternal September Tech. You're whoever the hell you say you are, for better or for worse. So why not be better? Just a thought. Uh, let's get into the game because I'm excited about this one. I've played this game before, all the way through, absolutely devoured it. But that was like 2 years ago. Uh, so I'm very excited to come back to it and see how it holds up. I imagine it's going to be good. Um, this is Citizen Sleeper. It is and this will function as the content warning also, a time management sim and a visual novel um, about a robot whose body is slowly decaying on a space station. We'll get more into it uh, as we like the game will sort of lay out its own shit pretty quickly. But in terms of the content warnings, um, medical disability, poverty, um, are the major themes that you might have trouble with. There is not much violence in the game that I can remember, but not none. It is all handled in terms of everything in the game is handled in terms of like character portraits and text boxes. There's not any blood or gore to be had. I think that's about all I need to hand you in terms of content warnings. It's a game that handles heavy themes, but it handles them in a way that I feel is very what is the fucking word I want? I mean tasteful, but that's not the thing. In a way that is not. I guess the word I want is respectful. I guess the word I want is respectful, or at least that'll do until we find a better one. There's a contents warning for the game. Contents warning for myself. I am a strange person who occasionally makes weird sex jokes or speaks frankly about my trauma, and if that's not your vibe, that's okay. If you find that you're comfortable with that, I'm happy to have you around. If you are here specifically to mock that, don't. Don't do that. Go do a different thing with your life. There's so many better things you could do with your life. Why are you choosing this? Go be better. All right. Yeah. Let's just jump into that. Let's just jump into the line. Rock your body now. Jump in the line. It's coming up. I've clicked the buttons. It will be starting just any old moment. There you are. And let me make sure that it's capturing on the stream. It should be. I'm not seeing it, but apparently that was a problem with the stream manager. We're ready to go. I forgot to change the. Okay, you're going to see the tunnel for just a second. I am sorry about that. Because I need to put my. Oh, I'd like to change the font too. I can do that real quick. September. My pronouns are it and its. I'm trying to remember the name of the font I was fucking using for things. It was the one that looked like a system font. You know what people love? Oh, there it is. Mode 7. That makes sense. What people love is watching someone fuck around with fonts. Okay. I'm not going to continue. I'm going to start a new game. Let's start down here. We are provided with some character classes. Operator. An operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. We have 5 skills that we do most of our things with. Engineer, interface. I'm going to read them off, I guess. Engineer, to work with machines and physical tools. Interface, to work with digital interfaces. Endure, to use strength or strength of will. Intuit, to approach problems with awareness. Or engage, to approach a problem head on, apply directly to the forehead. Operator would give us a +1 to interface, but a -1 to endure because we're very smart but physically weak. I guess I don't know why the hell you would design a robot body that way. That's not for me to know. A lot of the things about the way the robot bodies are designed in this game are specifically fucked up. We'll get more into that. We also have the extractor. Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. To that end, we have a +1 to endure and a -1 to intuit. Or the machinist. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. We would get a +1 to engineer and a -1 to engage. Let's go with the Big Bopper, because I don't usually. And I kind of want to see if there's some stuff in this game that I might not have seen otherwise as a result of being able to brute force my way past things. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. The delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body, or forget that body. Forget that body. You resist nostalgia. It's pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. This is your moment of escape, even if it feels immediately like you traded one prison for another, smaller, colder, and lifeless. Reach out. You almost laugh, or you would if there was room or even air to do so. The walls of the container are immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan, or remember the others. Remember the others. You remember there were 10 of you. 10 that could no longer stand the indentured work, the routines, the slow decay. 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled day by day until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape, or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft. Others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough, enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold or try to rest. Try to rest, but you're restless. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would have been impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes, and the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then, light. White as the cold, softer and softer, until, in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. I really wish I could zoom out from this screen, but this is the sort of main map screen. We're on a ring-shaped space station with many places inside of it, but right now we can only interact with this one. Dragos, a pragmatic salvager. Dragos being an older person wearing what looks to be a sort of overall jumpsuit that's heavily padded, probably to protect from the cold of space. And what part of it is not the suit is covered with wires and gizmos with a little spider-like drone hanging off one shoulder. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket, not a multi-layer blanket. Maybe there are multiple layers to the blanket. And certainly that you could make a multiple layer blanket by just taking a regular blanket and folding it over itself. Anyway, you are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges, where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with foggy eyes, you hear a voice. "So, Sleeper, y'all thawed yet?" "Almost." "Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero Vec. Seems more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky." Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. "Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long." You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in the memory for a moment. Or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. "I plan to survive. What happened to them?" Stay silent. "I plan to survive." You aren't sure if he hears you. "Won't ask what led you to do it. Sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you're just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property." You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You're an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. The body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SN ARP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? For now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see it soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. All right, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the Rex, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk, his plasma flashes silhouetting the spindly figure as he returns to work. I'm just gonna take a sip of my drink real quick. A tutorial. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the situation, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. Select locations by clicking on their icon. Click Empty Container. All cycles need to end, rest, and prepare for the next one. You wake curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed, its messages readable but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. And after all this, what matters? Escape matters, getting answers matters, or building a life matters. Colony, your indentured servants, that's in the past now. There's no point digging through the fragments. You need a path ahead, a way to keep this failing body going. If you can keep yourself alive, perhaps you can find a way off this station and out of the system for good. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. Or sachets? Never really been sure how to pronounce that. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets or sachets smell like damp wood as you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Okay, so this is the main mechanic that the game is built around. It's these dice that you can see on the top screen there. Tutorial, condition, action, dice, and energy. Number one, there is a bar at the top of our UI that is segmented. It's about 2/3 down at the moment and is currently labeled flickering. This is your condition. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to configure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to the corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. 2, underneath the bar, we have a series of squares with dots on them. These are action dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. 3, energy. A smaller bar. Well, it's the same size, but it's, rather than being segmented into like, I don't know, like 25 pieces, however much the condition bar is, the energy bar has 5 segments, of which 2 are currently filled. You need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. Dragos is here. Dragos is standing in the corner when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize that it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cachet of sensor eyes rapidly irising.
How are you feeling?
Not great. The drone chirps. Dragos nods. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches.
I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe.
He pauses.
So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. Are you well enough to work?
Work?
I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart.
He looks away.
At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up.
Chits.
Yeah, these.
He pulls out a handful of small metal bars.
Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here.
He stuffs them back in a pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously.
Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. And sleepers, well... But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help.
Happy to.
Okay.
He pauses, thinking of something else to add.
Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do.
Will do. He nods distractedly, turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him.
See you later,
he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. We can use the mouse wheel to scroll backward and forward across the rim of the station. Here's Dragos' scrapyard. It's lit up, telling us we have a thing there. There's the empty container. The only other thing we have access to is the low-end gates. After some spacers caused some trouble in the low end, Yatagan. After some spacers have caused some trouble in the low end, Yatagan have imposed a toll for entry. No one gets in without paying. We need 60 cryo in order to move into the low end. We'll figure that out later. Oh, tutorial. Actions. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock, progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds, or negative, the action fails. Our dice roll from 1 to 6, and a 6 will give us a 100% chance of a positive outcome. The 5 will give us a 50% positive, 50% neutral. A 2 or 3 is 25 positive, 50 neutral, 25 negative. The 1 or 2 is 50 neutral, 50 negative. Actions display information about their type, risk level, and the skill and modifiers that apply to that action. Actions are either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. There is a risk attached to each action, either safe, risky, or dangerous. A safe action has no loss of condition, energy, or cryo riding on it. Risky, a negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. Or dangerous, a negative outcome can mean condition loss. A neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. There's the skill that the action requires. You're obviously going to do better if you use things that are more in your skill set. Engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. And the modifier, which is showing us how good we are at any given thing. Some actions require a +1 at least to perform. So here in the yard we have 2 repeatable actions. There's hull dissection. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. It is a risky action using engineering. And on the right we have manual salvage. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you're no stranger to hard labor. That uses endure, which we have a +1 to because we chose the big beefy robot body. Also down here we have 2 clocks. One is a debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. And back in business, every salvager knows they're always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. And because they're connected there with lines to the repeatable actions, presumably doing the repeatable action will make the clocks advance. Let's go ahead and see that. Right now we have a 5, a 6, a 1, and a 3. As we don't have anything else to use our dice on at the moment, let's just go ahead and throw the 6, the 100% positive result, into the risky slot over here. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something, good or bad, is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Drago's debt, are cycle clocks. These clock tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Okay. Oh, and in the middle of the debt called in clock, there's a negative, a minus, and in the middle of back in business, there's a plus, showing that when this clock completes, a bad thing will happen, and when a debt called in completes, a bad thing will happen. When back in business completes, a good thing will happen. I might as well use the 5 on hull dissection also, since that's going to be at least neutral. Oh. A thingy happened. Tutorial, drives and navigation. In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any tracked drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu via the arrow button at the top left of the screen. So basically quests with a fancier name. That's fine. You are now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and find a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. And remember to end the cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Use the mouse wheel or W and S to scroll along the station. Rotate the view with A and D. So we do have 2 drives up here. One is Repay Dragos. Dragos pulled you out of the salvage and set you up. Perhaps you can repay his kindness in time. Help pay off Dragos' debts. Our other is Survive. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this escape attempt will come to a rapid end. Find a doctor. Let's pull out of here. Oh, we have a bunch of places open to us now. Dock C4, the Rotunda Wet Deck. The Rotunda Old Dock Terminal. Dock B2. The Bright Market, a bustling open market, and then the gates. So presumably because all of these 3 things are... Oh, no. Okay, they're glowing those 3 locations because there's stuff to do there, I think. This other one's also glowing, but it also has a yellow dot over it. So presumably this is where we go to advance our thing we're tracking. So let's do that. Ask for directions. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the Bright Market? All you need is the courage to approach them. That can be dangerous. Or explore the market. The smells, sounds, and buzzing activity of Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an exciting one too. That one takes Intuit, which we have a -1 to. I don't feel like, because I used the 2 good dice we had to do our work, and so now we just have a 1 and a 3. So, like, not very good chances for either of them. Let's back off of this critical thing and go see if we can't spend those dice somewhere else. What about the docks here at the Rotunda? There is actually nothing to do here. Helion Crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion system are rare, but those who do always return, eventually. Here's the rotunda. Bleh. From here we can steal dock plans. Habited security has to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place and also the most dangerous. Or explore the rotunda. The rotunda of the old dock is filled with passageways and concourses, leading to all kinds of docking bays. All right, what's this other one? There's also nothing to interact with over here. The other dock is salvage sortie. It takes several cycles to reach the starward belt and return, loaded with scrap from the old wrecks. Well, okay. Let's... All right, here's what I'm going to do, and it's a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's take this 3 that we have. Oop, no, get back in there. Let's take this 3 that we have. 50% neutral, 50% negative. It's actually downgraded to a 1 because I'm batted into it. We'll put it on risky. Well, should I do that? Should I put it over here at... So, if I put it over here and ask for directions, it remains a 3, which means there's a 25% chance that something positive will happen. 50% chance of neutral, 25% chance of negative. That's versus putting it over in explore. My intuit brings it down to 2, which means I don't have any chance of a positive outcome, just a neutral or negative one. But the trade-off is that the ask for directions thing is a dangerous action, which means that if I get that negative, I can lose some condition. And if I get neutral, I'll probably lose money or energy. I think it's still a better way to manage this risk currently. Let's do that. Neutral outcome, okay. A man comes with you with endless stories about the eye. He asks for a donation, and desperate to escape, you hand him some cryo. We lost 6 cryo. But we advanced the local knowledge clock down here by, what, 2? We only need 1 more to finish that off. We could explore the market, but like if we put, what happens if we put a 1 into a thing where we have a -1? It remains at 1. We don't get a 0. Oh, phew, a couple things popped up. Sabine, a slam doctor. Slam doctor? Slum doctor. That's a U. Cool font. Or Emphis, a street food vendor. I don't think I want to fuck with a doctor when the only thing I have is a 1 dice, so let's try and get some food. Here's Emphis. Emphis is a really big guy holding a wok like it's a fucking buckler. With a backpack and arm sling full of what looks to be a massive amount of vegetables. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays the thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payments. We can approach or watch. Let us approach. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually, it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphis speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks trying that again from the top. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Emphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycles spent within it. Now, it seems, you tell him like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But, next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounding with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. We can go back in and order more food, but we don't have to because that raised our energy all the way up. Oh, I clicked on the doctor's office just to see what happened, and we are immediately in a dialogue. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will. You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look at the enforcer. The enforcer is down the corridor, and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He is there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops, subsidiaries, sense input, or aesthetic markers, you aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric, blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make a note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. "Send the next one in, Toshiro." The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. The floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of Bright Market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. Here is Sabine, wearing a lighter-looking jumpsuit than everybody else, but still a jumpsuit, and also we'll go with poncho that surrounds it, I presume because being a back alley doctor occasionally has sort of splash zone connotations. "Come, sit," calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink and quickly regain their composure. "Please, sit." They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. "Remain still, please." Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness unmistakably etched across their face. "How long have you been on the station?" they ask, the scanner still to their eye. "A few cycles." They nod. "It's good you came to me." They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. "I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything." They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. "Your body is dying." They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology set loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames, as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. "I'm sorry," Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. "I know little of this is of use to you." They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. "I may be able to help." They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. "You saw Toshiro outside." You nod. "He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end." No, not right now. Fucking, I'd read Yatagan and, like, Great Mouse Detective showed up in the head. I'm just gonna leave it alone for the moment. I'm just gonna start from the top. "You saw Toshiro outside. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end."
They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. But Yadigan has connections. Smugglers from the Starwood Belt. Mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive. But I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can get their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Yeah, clicking back on it gives us the clock. Sabine thinks they can source some stabilizer through Yadigan, but it is going to take a few cycles, so we can't do anything about that. You go back and fuck around in Bright Markets. We don't need anything at Emphasis' stall. We don't have enough money to go through the low-end gate yet. I don't particularly want to fuck around with anything in the Rotunda. I really dislike having just the one. I'm going to use it here in the manual salvage thing again, because the +1 brings it up to 2. That doesn't actually matter. 1 and 2 are the same thing as far as the game is concerned. It's 50% neutral, 50% negative, but it's a safe action, so even if I fuck up, I won't get hurt. Oh, neutral outcome. We got a little bit of the clock move on back in business, and a little bit of cryo. Having expended all of our dice, we should go back to the empty container, but there's another thing that popped up back here that I didn't notice previously, so let's look at Shipyard. Oh, this is another place to work. Repeatable actions. Assist a shipbuilder. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you can get a shipbuilder to notice them, you might be in. Or haul materials. As a newcomer, you can only gain favor by grabbing a load of materials and asking the nearest yard hand where to take them. The only way to get to know the shipyard is to work there. No tourists here. Maybe I should have used that there. No, this was probably the best choice. Let's go back to our empty container and sleep. We have a repeatable action in our container, which is called Sunbathe. Your frame's photosynthetic skin allows you to gather energy through sunlight. The longer you stay, the better. We're full up on energy, but it's good to know that if we don't have money to eat at any time, we can come back here and just photosynthesize like the end. Speaking of, let's end cycle. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them.
dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Touch it. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try, in a moment of impulsiveness, to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it, waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored. And then it is gone. Neat. Oh, here's our character sheet. We currently have no upgrade points, so we can't upgrade our skills. Because we have a +1 in Endure as a result of being Extractor is what it's called, the beefy bot. That's what's giving us the photosynthetic sunbathing thing. But all of the skills have extra things attached to them as we upgrade them. I'll figure that out later once I have upgrade points to spend. As it is, the doctor's clock has moved up by 1 as we've gone through the cycle. We could work and make some money. We apparently for our dice today rolled a 5, a 4, and a 3. Oh, that's why that's why the energy is cut into 5 segments that correlate pretty directly with the 5 slots that we can roll dice. We can have 5 dice at once. At the moment, we only rolled 3 because our energy only is at 3. So presumably, if we have a full energy bar, then we will have 5 dice to play with. But as it is, we only have the 3. So let's eat something. Or we could sunbathe for energy, I guess. Let's try that just to see what it does. And we'll use, because it's a safe action, we'll use our 2, and the Endure we have a +1 in will bring it up to a 3, so we at least have a shot at this being positive. A neutral outcome. We got +2 energy on a neutral outcome. That feels pretty good. What the fuck would a positive outcome have done for us? Oh, I'm getting the hiccups. According to the folkwism I made up, that means someone's being horny about me somewhere, which is fine. Do we want to go back to Bright Market? No, let's make some money. Or actually, let's look at the docks and see what's happening there. Nothing there. The clock cycles are cycling. We could go explore the Rotunda with our 5, which would go down to a 4. Let's work a job first real quick. We'll put that 5 into manual salvage, which we get a +1 to, so it is absolutely going to be a positive outcome. Make 10 cryo and click the back in business clock forward a couple ticks. And maybe I'd rather explore Bright Market instead. Not with a 4. Explore the Rotunda also has that same negative, doesn't it? Yeah. Could work at the shipyard for a thing. Yeah, and I have a +1 endure, so I can actually just do haul materials, and it'll be 50% positive, 50% neutral. Which, it's a dangerous action, but that just means that I'll lose either some money or some energy on a neutral. I won't be hurt. So let's go ahead and do that. -1 energy, but +1 to the yard hand clock. Oh, but I don't get money as a result of doing that. Oh, okay, this isn't a payment thing. This is just me getting to know what the shipyard is like to sort of ingratiate myself here and see who's around in that zone. Okay. Well, that's all the dice we have, so let's run back to the container. We'll end this cycle. Oof. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches or caches. It's another one of those words of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of thread across the ring through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops, that it seems almost impossible to parse, but you begin to try. We can focus on the threads, or we can focus on the nodes. Focus on the threads. There are more threads than you can count. You choose one that passes nearby and approach it. As you inspect it, you understand why you instinctively chose the word thread when you first saw them. They're not single lines, but rough, fuzzy things woven from data strings of all kinds. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There is so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down and you see two lines, two threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something, a sphere shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. We have a new clock. It's called Hunted. Someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. There are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles before that happens. Maybe we can find a way to make it not. Tutorial, the cloud. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the I button at the top of the screen to toggle this view on and off. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So, doing that sort of shows us the ring and a kind of faded view. We can see sort of blocks of the larger structures, but everything else is just dots and lines with a couple of interactable pieces. I say a couple, there's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things. Let's look at Heavenage Gate H4. This gate keeps traffic out of Heavenage Shipyard's internal network. The correct cipher can grant you access. Input 1 Heavenage cipher. We do not have any of those. Data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the Eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to unlock them, you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right of the action. If you have a +1 or +2 modifier in the interface skill, you will be given more dice to match. You can use the dice that matches the dice displayed. Once unlocked, the data can be extracted. Okay. So, Heavenage agent. A Heavenage member is broadcasting on the open network from here, leaving them open to data extraction. Match input 2. We have a 2 dice. So if we throw that in there, we can bypass this and extract data. We have some Heavenage data, a cache of raw data from Heavenage hardware. I don't know what that will do for us, but we have it now. Right, well, first of all, let's get some food. Order fungus. Emphas spiced fungus is one of the few things potent enough to stimulate your limited taste sensors. It is incredible stuff. Gives us +3 energy and moves a clock called Fungus Fan down here. Memphis doesn't trust people easily, but he notices his regular customers in his own quiet way. All right, our energy now full for a day's work. Let's head back to Dragos's yard. Might as well endure. Make a little bit of money. And should we try this here, or should we put that 3 into the shipyard again to try and move that clock forward? We get a +1 from it, so there's only a 25% chance of a negative outcome. It is dangerous, though. I think I don't want to do that. I think... Yeah, I think let's spend that in Dragos's yard and try and make some of the money we just spent on fungus back. There we go. And that clicks forward the back in business clock to full. And Dragos has appeared. We can just speak to them. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across the vast, dark shapes suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter.
She's a beauty, isn't she?
Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it is lowered into the yard. What is it?
That, my friend, is A-grade scrap. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up. Now look at this.
The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened?
What do you mean?
He glances at you.
I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me. On credit, that's what happened.
No, I mean, what happened to the ship?
That's not my concern.
He shrugs. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited.
I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm going to need some help with this one.
The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion. Locked inside that container, the wreck of the Espinarp freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse, ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about this ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder.
After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think?
You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winter Light. Let's do it. He claps you on the back.
Glad to hear it. Come back in a few. We can make a start. Real beauty.
Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at this shattered ship as the drones start cutting and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Hey, we completed a drive. Congratulations, you've completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point to spend on upgrading your character. Access your character menu via the arrow button at the top right of the screen. Whoop. So we have one upgrade point. We could put it in Endure to give ourselves a +2 there, I guess? Or we could choose something else to give a +1 to. Or we could use it on Intuit so that we don't have a -1 there anymore. Let's look at the things that we would get if we upgraded stuff to a +1. If we upgraded Intuit, then it would just put us at a 0. We wouldn't get the perk attached to it. Engage. Thrill Seeker, chance to gain energy after any engage action. Interface, chance to gain cryo on interface actions. And Engineer, efficient extractor, chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions. I don't think we've seen scrap items yet. And I, to be honest, don't really remember what they do. Let's go with, well, how about this? Let's look at the things that we have access to right now and see what's useful to take. Engineer. That's Intuit and Engage. That's Intuit also. I think we take Engineer. Largely because the thing that we got a +1 with the salvage, that's gone now that the big salvage has come in. So if we want to come back here and work, we need to do a different thing, and that thing requires Engineer. So let's go ahead and take that point. Oh. Okay, so I thought that we'd get the perk and the +1, but no, it's the upgrade path is a -1, a 0, a perk, a +1, a secondary perk, and then a +2. So we just got the engineer perk, the random scrap thing, without getting the +1. We'll have to spend another upgrade point to do that. Well, we're out of dice, and all other things being equal, I guess we just end this cycle and move on with our time. I guess it's not a day because we're on a space station, and that just means that, you know, the day and night, the lonely stoners don't be afraid at night. I probably got that line wrong. Oops, we have a thing. As you close up your container, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. I thought this was Dragos, but it's not. Feng is coming down the corridor towards you. A wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Feng being, the dude hunched over a very complex looking machine. Not necessarily cybered up to any great degree, wearing, again, a massive jumpsuit and overalls. Do I know you? He grins. How you do now? He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. I just want to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start in the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it old Erland said? The eye opens for us all? I mean, it's a nice idea, but, well, it's not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We? You pass together into the main walkway. Heavenage. We're all one dysfunctional family. Feng puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though, don't worry. I'm with systems. Heavenage. Yeah, think of us as an administrative association for the eye. Depending on who you talk to, we either emerged as a response to or a continuation of Andre Erland's original union. Personally, I avoid the topic. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I've been seeing some unusual network activity, and, well, I know a little bit about you sleepers. I have a small proposition for you. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare, and then, when you're settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright, and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Cool. Confusing. Worrying. The doctor's clock is done ticking. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants, like a cat's eyes in the dark of the corridor. He nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark, and you push through the sheeting into the surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with a case open in front of them, a set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how Yadigan... They trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it is really what it appears to be. I'm the test case? That seems to be the case. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation. It stops your body from injecting the unfamiliar parts of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains, which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Which means the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. At least if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know for sure is to inject the vial. They begin readying the syringe. I'll start with a small dose to limit the risk. Okay, let's do it. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe, and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when it returns, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness. Muffled noises like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? Yes. Stabilizer's genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yadigan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more, but you're going to have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods toward the case.
I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're going to need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that? You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. And our condition bar, which had been about half full, is now all the way full, reading stable, which feels good. How much is each of holy shit? I went back down to the doctor's thing to look at how much each stabilizer is going to be, and it's 100 cryo a piece. We have 49, and that's a result of 3 cycles worth of solid work. So I guess we're just going to have to see how quickly that stable condition goes away. And run that particular risk. In the meantime, I guess let's do shit. How about this? Let's go to Dragos's yard. Okay, so the yard has changed significantly. We have 2 new repeatable actions. Forensic Trawl. Investigating the Winter Light means picking through its systems and structures with care. It won't pay, but you may find answers. This will move a clock forward called Winter Light. The wrecked cutter Dragos is brought in to salvage, has a history to discover if you're curious. Or Cutter Salvage. Shipbreaking is tougher than slicing up loose salvage, but Dragos is happy to pay you a fixed wage if you're up to it. This has a clock attached to it called Yard Clearance. History or no, this ship is salvage. As Dragos always says, break it down, move it on. Presumably, once yard clearance is full, that means that the ship has been completely parted and salvaged, and we won't be able to do the thing where we look through it to find answers about it. In addition to both of those, we have a new clock called Dragos's Nerve. Dragos seems increasingly nervous about your presence in the yard. You're not sure he's going to hold that nerve much longer. There's a lot of segments to that clock, but it is activating every cycle. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12? So we have 12 days before that finishes, and then however Dragos chooses to handle his nerves will happen. I want to go into the cyber zone real quick, and I want to see, because our dice for the day are a 2, a 3, and a 6. The 2 is not going to do us much good, so I want to see if there's anything I can do with it. There's a key node which requires a 2.
Have an edge agent, which also requires a 2. Keynode requires a 1. Another Heavenage agent with a 2. This needs a cipher that we don't have. That one's a 3. And that one's a 1. So let's kick open this keynode with a 2 and see what we get out of that. We got an encrypted key. A stream of passcodes able to unlock the station's aging maglocks. This will presumably... Okay. A thing has popped up. As you drift back from the node, something latches onto you. A thread strung tight around you tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver, its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, astringent, processing. We can resist or remain still. We will be still. Please hold. This is apparently the voice of Hunter, a sentient protocol unraveling. The form it has chosen for itself. I don't know how AI constructs get their forms in this universe, but what Hunter looks like to us is a dog with a whole bunch of tentacles coming out of where the head would be, surrounding a sort of either orb or disc. The thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It is blinding for a moment, and then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape paces around you on lithe legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity, identify, origin, serial, cadence. The figure faces you expectantly. Sleeper, Essen Arp, or I don't understand, or just silence again. Sleeper, Essen Arp. Unknown, known. The figure's strange head rotates. Brackish signature, of and not of. Attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head, thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity, your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? I'm a person. Incorrect. You are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste, the one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dock? An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. Strike. You lash out with all of your force. Not a physical strike, but a focusing, a spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. Wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light. shaking with fear. Ah, okay. So, the button that we click to get into cyber mode had a little bar pop up behind it that I didn't really understand. But now it's labeled Hunter and has 6 segments on it. So presumably, every time we use a node in the cyberspace, we will be attracting Hunter's attention, and when that bar fills, we will have another encounter. Fun. Let's do some shit. Let's go to Dragus's yard. And I want to use our 6 here in cutter salvage and make some money. You work your way into the ship, systematically separating and cutting. Piece by piece, the ship starts to come apart. We've moved the yard clearance clock forward a couple. And as I have a 3 and can bump that up, to a 4 using Endure, let's go ahead and do that over here in the shipyard and move that clock forward a little more. Except that we got the negative outcome, which didn't move the clock forward and didn't and lost us a point of condition. You buckle under the weight, dropping a set of hull plates and blocking a walkway. You limp away while the yard hands shout. I tried. Let's go ahead and grab some food also. Partially because I want to get to know Emphis better, and partially because it will be a nice feeling to head off to the end of this cycle with a, well, mostly full condition bar and a full energy bar. And yeah, now we have, well, golly. We rolled 6 dice today, and 3 of them are 6s. One's a 3 and one's a 4. So that's gonna be fun. But I think I'm gonna take the break right now. A little bit early. And we'll start this cycle when I get back. Before I do that, I would like to take the opportunity to remind you that Black Lives Matter, that Indigenous lives and lands matter, the lives of people of color matter, that Iranian, Palestinian, Sudanese, Congolese, Ukrainian lives matter. There are many ways to be in solidarity with your fellow travelers upon this earth. And we like to push for direct mutual aid, as it helps people who are suffering right now suffer less, and people who are suffering less can stand shoulder to shoulder with us that little bit taller. So while I'm on my break, I'm gonna go to the mutual aid hashtag on my social media and boost what needs I can there. I recommend that you take the opportunity to check out mutual aid initiatives in places you operate, both online and in meat space. Because the only way we get out of this is through. And the only way we get through this is together. In the meanwhile, maybe do a stretch or drink some water, have a snack, hit the restroom, do whatever self-care is useful to you. I'll do the same. And I'll catch you back here in just a little bit. paying back. This soundtrack's a fucking banger, right? We actually got this one. It's available on like Bandcamp, and I bought it as as part of a push a couple years ago that I had to get more robot music in my life. It was like this and the fucking soundtrack for Thomas Was Alone and some other shit. What was the I'm not gonna remember the name of that album off the top of my head, and I don't want to bring up my Bandcamp app to look it up right now. Oh shoot! I should turn on the light in this room. One moment. Emotion Engine was the name of the album. I don't remember the artist at the moment. My brain is handing me Sabaro, but there's no way that the artist was called Sabaro. Okay, I am just gonna look it up. What do you mean I haven't bought any music? Oh, it's logged me out of fucking Bandcamp on my phone for some reason. That sucks. Alright. I'll deal with that in a fucking minute. Let's start this up. We got 3 6s, a 4, and a 3, and Fang is ready to talk to us, or we're ready to talk to Fang, whichever way around that is. Sleeper? Fang catches your attention as you approach the Heavenage building, leaning against a bay door to the side of the entrance. You approach. It's easier to come in this way. Security, all that. He gives you a look. You know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Fang inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There's a chorus of hums that blends into a single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. It sounds very pleasant. Fang leans on a server stack and gestures around. You like it? It's a mess, it's incredible, or what is all this? It's incredible. He smiles widely. Thought you'd say that. He taps a nearby server stack which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from this sea of systems we call the Eye. You would not believe what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block speckled with vents. Some of these systems are from the original station, AU-1, the one Solheim built. We had to invent new computers, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they're seeing a constant, concrete reality. But this place is a system in constant flux, decaying and growing and collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks and you follow. We are keeping this place alive, but also remaking it into something new, dragging it away from those corporate origins. At least he stops. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines humming all around you. I know you can see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I can see it. It makes sense, right? You are between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Fang notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you're on the run, though. They're tracking me. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems I can't see, access protocols lost to time and decay. Secrets. A shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Heavenage, there's old growth. Those whose roots trace back into those bad old days. You help me dredge up the past, and I'll see what I can do about that tracker of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? I'm in. Fang pumps his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Fang passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate, and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the nodes inside. He walks you back to the front of the bay. Start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how the things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisitions budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door button again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, Sleeper. I'll see you soon. You step, blinking, back out into the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. A new drive discovered. Oh, golly, that's a lot of stuff. I had that minimized, and so didn't realize we had gotten a lot of drives, actually. Study the Winterlight. The blasted ship came into the same yard as you did. Is there a connection, or are you just paranoid? Get to know Emphis. Emphis loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. Extract the past. Fang wants to dig into old Solheim networks in search of secrets that could change the future of the station. And disable your tracker. Fang says he will disable your SNARP tracker if he can get to the bottom of his mystery first. Do we, in Cyberworld, have anything immediately asking for a Solheim cipher? Yeah, this one does. So, let's go ahead and click that in. With a squawk of noise, the old gate flips open, granting access. Apparently that didn't raise Hunter's dander any. Okay, so opening that, opening that Solheim centerpiece has opened up a bunch of Solheim nodes around. So we can go in here and, if we have the dice, which we don't for that one, remove the data that Fang wants. We can get this one? Can we get this one too? No, that's a 1. We can get this one, that's a 4. Let's go ahead and do that. We've got 3 6s. We're like set for shit we can do in the meat space for this. This network storage holds corporate records, most of them corrupted by a failed system purge. But we do have the data. And yeah, I assume the neutral response is going to kick Hunter's tracker up by 1. Because that's what we got. So given that a lot of the, like, locks down here in cyberspace are like opened by 1s, 2s, and 3s. It's a good place to dump those dice off rather than doing something that's going to cause you damage out there in meat space. But doing that comes with a cost of like possibly getting a really bad roll and getting Hunter on top of you that much faster. And I don't really know what happens when you fill that all the way up. So let's come back here. And, oh, a ship has docked. Oh, hang on. At the docked ship, we can buy some scrap. Most of what comes in from the Starward Belt is corroded trash, but sometimes something valuable can be found among the salvage. That'll cost us 20 cryo. Or we can choose to work and unload containers. The freighter crew are eager to get their payload into the Ord Exchange, and they'll pay a wage to anyone willing to help them. Does that pay more than what we get working at the scrapyard? This is a fantastic question, and I want to find out. It pays about the same. We got a neutral outcome. Apparently this ship will be here for 3 cycles, so we can always come back, I guess. Alright. In the meantime, let's expend these 6s. What's this? Oh, this is Fangs Bay. We have data we can give you. $15 cryo, that's not bad. And it's another way for us to make money, and we're apparently going to need a lot of it if we want to get our medicine, so. Let's head back to the, oops, need to plug that in real quick. Oh, I have a better solution for this and I should have used it, but it's too late to think about that right now. I'll deal with that tomorrow. I kind of want to... Like, we've already made some money today. So I kind of want to, while we have, like, 3 fucking 6s we can expend, just throw it into the forensic troll. So that we can just move this clock up, like, as fast as possible. Oh, right, they won't be 6s because it runs on into it and we have a -1 to into it. It'll still be a 5, which means it's a 50% positive or 50% neutral outcome. So that's still going to be, like, what works great. Positive outcome. Move the clock up by 2 points and got some scrap. I still don't know what we need to do with scrap. But I am just going to put all 3 of our mega dice into here. Apparently the neutral outcome is just a +1 on the clock and no scrap. Scrap component and ship mind fragment. Could be reassembled with the right tools and a few more fragments. That's interesting. Okay. Our work done for the day. Let's treat ourselves to a healthy bowl of fungus and then go have a sleep. Or a shutdown, whatever. Get back to the empty container and end cycle. The dice not as kind to us today, but that's all right. We have a 6, a 5, a 3, a 2, and a 1. So, what do we want to do with them? I kind of want to go back into here and knock out the Solheim nodes, because I think we can do that with the dice we have. And that has moved the Hunter Tracker up a little more than I would like, but it gives us 2 more pieces of Solheim data, and that'll move Feng's Tracker all the way up. And also make us money. Like, not insignificantly, make us like 30 cryo in one go. Feng's eyes light up as the data is transferred over. He hands you a stack of chits and waves you off. And is ready to speak to us again. As you enter the bay, Feng is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and machines blink out of the dark in staccato rhythms, unseeing eyes of the station's digital ghosts. Shitheads! Feng's voice echoes from behind a stack, followed by the hammer of a fist on a metal casing. These snaky shitheads! Who's snaky? Sleeper! Feng's smiling head pops out from behind the stack. Just the emulated consciousness I've been eager to see. Come back here. You pick your way between the thrumming stacks, trying not to trip on the loose bundles of cables that blanket the dark floor. Feng is sat in front of a set of monitors mounted to a stack. Tell me, Sleeper, what do you see here? Feng waves at a monitor to his side, glowing with pale lists of information. You lean in closer, looking for the links in the data. The tables seem to be filled with personal information, names, genders, dates, ID numbers, all of the markers of institutional records. Our options are names, people, shitheads? People. People, yeah, but whose people? Solheim? Bingo. He taps at the terminal. I pulled these from the old data you brought in, all employees of the Eye's original owners. And, he leans past you and scrolls the list down, this one. This is a sneaky shithead. He stabs at the screen with a finger. The name reads Hardin Hurst. Friend of yours? Feng gives you a sideways look. Funny you should say that, Sleeper. He drags a stool out from behind him and motions for you to sit. There just so happens to be a Hardin Hurst in Heavenage. He waits for your reaction. In Heavenage? Yeah, that's it. He's right here on the station, now. Just think about it. Decades ago, Hardin worked on the station as a... Feng leans across to look at the monitor. Senior Strategic Operations Executive. Feng raises his eyebrows at you. Our Hardin was keeping the money coming in for Solheim. He defined priority growth initiatives by making sure the extractors they contracted to were hooked into a system that outsourced all the risk and kept all the profit. Good old Hardin shuttled thousands of Paladin Rush workers into an infrastructure, which meant that their cut of the work they did went straight back into Solheim. How do you know all this? I grew up here, Sleeper. This is my history. I am a child of the collapse. Thang turns back to his screen, staring hard at the strings of code flickering by. Before I was born, my parents were Solheim contractors. They ate in Solheim canteens, worked on Solheim ships, they breathed Solheim air and slept in Solheim beds. Thang's voice rises as he speaks, his hands fists on the terminal edge. And the work that paid for that existence? The cycles of hard extraction out in the belt? Solheim took their cut. This was a company town, so to speak, and my parents were just another in the long line of freelance contractors willing to risk their lives for a shot at anything other than poverty. Disposable. This guy, stabbing at Hardin once again with his finger, strategized all that, did the sums, and then somehow, thousands and thousands of cycles later, is still going, still here, crawling in the walls like some shithead snake. He survived the revolution. But how? These guys? They were big time. There's a lot money can get you if you're a company man. Thang relaxes a little. But how is Hardin still kicking? I don't really know. He turns to you and smiles. So, we're going to go find out. Hardin is now a big shot in the shipyards, just a few degrees back around the eye from here. Thang brings up a map of the lower eye. Heavenage might be born out of Erlin's revolutionary zeal, but a flat hierarchy it is not. Hardin happened to float to the top. Thang zooms in on the far yards. Thang grimaces. The thing is, I don't have access to those systems. The shipyard crew is pretty paranoid, and they don't like anyone from systems digging around in their stuff. Plus, we need more than just the name of a Solheim executive. We need proof. Thang holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. That's where this little creation of mine comes in. I call it a ripper worm. He turns the drive between his fingers. It'll rip through any digital storage and spin out a silken thread of filtered data. This one is set on the scent of Hardin Hurst. He hands it over. Getting into the compound might be tricky. Thang puts a hand on your shoulder, but you, however, have a particular knack for remote access. If you can extract yourself a Heavenage cipher from a Heavenage agent, they sometimes carry them among their data caches, you can crack open the compound's network and slot the worm in through any open port. You never even need to go near the shipyards. So what do you say? You up for it? We have the option to ask what's in it for me, but I feel like this will be its own reward. Yeah. I knew it. I knew you'd be happy to catch this snake. And don't worry, once we nail this guy, I'll start work on that tracker of yours. I haven't forgotten. Thang scratches at his chin. Anything the worm gets, it'll send back here to me. There's something wrong here. I aim to get to the rotten core of it. You leave Thang, digging through data among the wires and machines of the old station. As you walk out, you try to imagine the eye as it once was, a vast machine running smooth and strong, directed by people like Hardin. A vast Solheim-built machine into which thousands poured from the surrogate systems looking for a new life. The hope of a better future, engineered to line someone else's pockets. It's an idea you're intimately familiar with. You think of Hardin still alive and still part of this place, and wonder if the past is ever truly past. Okay, so what do I want to do with the rest of my spoons? We have a 5, a 6, and a 3. I really want to finish the Winterlight thing, and I think the 6 and the 5 will be able to get us there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. Oh, no, not neutral outcomes. Come on, I need a positive one. There we go. Squeezed into the office at the entrance of the yard, you lay out everything you have on the winter light across the metal desk. Your makeshift forensic notes glow on Dragos' old writing slate, overlapping lines and scrawled annotations. A set of drone scans fill the small terminal with a spectrum of colors, a heat map of damage and decay. A crumpled printout from the office's ship registry lies behind them, synthetic paper so thin it's almost transparent. Look at the monitor. Reactor failure. That's the verdict anyone would have returned. Try it again. Reactor failure. That is the verdict that anyone would have returned after a cursory glance at the stacked heat maps of the remains of the winter light. On the terminal screen, the ship is shown in section blotches of color marking the approximate damage of the ship sustained. Dominating the view is a single blood-red rose radiating from the ship's fraction drive. A simple story. A catastrophic failure of the drive core, leading to a fatal hull breach. A well-documented failure likely brought on by wear or misuse. But you aren't looking at the rose of the reactor. You're looking at a smaller, paler mark, one that might be easy to miss at first glance. It's thumbprint-sized, delicately placed over the control servos for the ship's main external airlock. It suggests a controlled, shaped explosion, one designed to punch through the hull and allow access to the airlock from the outside. You are looking at it because it is troubling you. Look at the slate. Your attempts at a reconstruction of the winter light before its fatal accident consists of a series of overlapping sketches and diagrams showing possible layouts and configurations of the gutted cutter. This was no off-the-shelf model. It was heavily modified. Parts replaced with inventive configurations, the new retrofitted into the old, handmade joints and reconditioned filters. This was someone's pride and joy, a lifetime project kept running with care and intuition. It also contained a set of hidden compartments. You missed them at first, where the hull had been thickened, the corners rounded to disguise the change. But they are there. Look at the printout. A plain list shows the registration history of the Winterlight, the gaps between the entries tantalizingly opaque. Its first registration was a couple of thousand cycles ago on this very station, logged at the central hub. From here, the registry tells the story of a busy ship, one that rarely stayed on station for more than a few cycles, and often took on voyages that kept it away from the eye for up to 100 cycles. The Winterlight got little rest. An old ship, many cycles under its belt, carefully maintained. A reactor failure preceded by a carefully concealed external entry. A suite of hidden compartments tucked away. This was the Winterlight, and this was its story. But that's not the full story, because there's something else. It is little more than a list, a tiny chunk of data you were able to pull from the ship's systems. The main systems were fried, of course, but the Winterlight had a separate system, one tucked away in one of its hidden compartments. Armored. Air-walled. The list, the only recoverable piece from the whole system, is a partial inventory. It details the contents of the hidden compartments. Some of it you recognize, some of it you don't. Ship mind ROMs, shimmer, cryochain codes, and then the final entry, passenger, sleeper. You stare at the list on the terminal and try not to think about what it was like arriving here. In the cold for so long, half frozen in the freight container. Had this sleeper been smarter? Luckier? How would they convince the Winterlight, a smuggler's ship if ever you've seen one, to extract them from SNARP? Luckier, you laugh. There had been no remains found in any of the Winterlight's compartments. You checked. They weren't so lucky, you guess. Not in the end. You hold up a vial of stabilizer to the light. This was all you find in their compartment. Parting gift from SNARP. Well, it won't go to waste now. You put it back in your pocket. The thought still bothers you, though. Two ships carrying sleepers coming into the same yard. Two, one after the other. That feels wrong. You flick back and forth between data sets on the terminal, thinking, and you see that thumbprint again, the mark of someone trying to get in. Someone who entered the Winterlight with precision and speed, and when they were done, left the reactor to clean up the rest. The thought of that person makes you shiver. Suddenly, the office door creaks open. Dragos stands in the doorway, staring at the equipment and the notes you've assembled.
What's all this?
He snatches the slate from the desk, faster than you realized he could move.
You running an investigation here? What am I paying you for?
The drone on his shoulder starts whining shrilly as anger, passing through it to his implants. Where's the ship from?
Leave this alone.
He starts shaking his head.
I know you have a lot of questions, but this isn't the way.
He turns away, muttering to himself.
This is the last thing I need.
The ship had a sleeper on it. Dragos freezes, suddenly angry.
What did you say?
He pushes past you to look at the terminal, at the list. He shakes his head.
So what? Aren't all of you trying to escape? You're lucky it was you that made it out alive and not them.
He folds his arms indignantly. Dragos seems to steady himself and then turns back to you, the heat map of the reactor failure reflected in his headset's glassy eyes.
I've given you a place to stay. I've given you work. There's plenty others who would have sold you on or turned you in, but not me. No.
I know. He softens.
Look, you've helped me too. I've done well by you and you've returned the favor.
He straightens up and clears his throat.
But this obsession you have with the ship isn't going to work for me. I can't have you making my clients nervous. I can't have you digging up whatever it is you're after. You can't work here anymore.
What about the Winterlight? He reaches over and switches the monitor off.
You forget about the damn ship. You have enough to keep you up.
Dragos reaches across and flicks off the terminal. As the light of the monitor dies, a kind of eerie calm falls on both of you. Whatever this was, it's done.
You made it out, Sleeper. That means you have to move on.
Someone killed that ship and its crew.
And you want to meet them?
He shakes his head.
No, we're done here.
In the dark, Dragos' headset glints. You wish for a moment you could see his eyes and meet them. Maybe then he would understand. You get up from the desk and Dragos gathers the notes, stuffing them into a pocket of his overalls. He holds the door for you, his headset as expressionless as always.
You can stay in the container. I won't take that from you. Don't come back.
His tone is final, definite, with an edge of disappointment. You walk out of the office and then out of the yard, not stopping to look back. You leave the yard, thumbing the vial in your pocket, knowing that this, at least, guarantees you a little more time. And as you walk, your mind once again drifts to that person who killed the Winterlight, and whether or not that person will come for you. Brutal. Upgrade point. Where do I want to put it in? I could just keep taking the perks. All of the perks basically are like when you do an X kind of action, you also have a chance to earn Y kind of reward. And all of that is really neat, but I kind of want to just get another +1 in engineer. Yeah. Let's do that. Well, the main way we were making money is kind of gone now. So that's not ideal. The scrap freighter's still here, so let's go ahead and work doing that. Make a little bit of extra money. Oh, we got some energy up from that too. You finish unloading ahead of schedule, and one of the crew invites you aboard to share a warm meal as thanks for your efforts. Wonderful. So we have 110 cryo, so we could buy another pop of stabilizer real quick. We have one that we scavenged from Winterlight, but maybe having a backup wouldn't hurt. It's just really expensive is the thing. I'll sleep on it and give you an answer in the morning. Oh, and in our sleeping chamber, which is what I'm calling the storage unit, we have a new thing, Inject Stabilizer. Without regular doses of stabilizer, sleeper bodies actively decay. A corporate insurance policy to disincentivize escapees like you. We slap a stabilizer in there, and presumably it'll kick our condition up to full. Currently, we're still stable, so I think I'm going to hold off on that. When we got our first dose at the doctor's office, we went from like half a condition bar to full. So I think I'm fine leaving it to tick down for another day or so. Let's just end cycle and see what happens. More dice. Oh, okay. So that thing I was saying about the energy going down being attached to the dice was wrong. The condition bar, on the other hand, is the thing that's keeping us from getting all of our dice at once, because we only have 4 today. And they're a 2, a 2, a 4, and a 1. So that's not great. Let's see what we can do with this in cyberspace real quick. We need to pop open this Heavenage gate to advance things thing. We need a cipher, but we don't have one. We need to get that from Heavenage agents that might be around, like you. How are you doing? I'm just gonna slap this 2 dice in here and bypass your whole shit. Is that the cipher? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we can do that real quick. Let us do. The gate flips. You are in. An open port sits, waiting for you to slot in a Ripper worm. What will it find in there? This is a fantastic question. Start action. The worm slots in and begins tunneling down a thread. Godspeed, little one. And okay, doing that has opened up a clock over with Fang. In 3 cycles, that'll be done doing whatever it's doing. And the Hunter Bar is almost full, so I kind of don't want to fuck with cyberspace anymore today. Let's woo. See what we can do with this incredibly bad series of rolls that we have access to. First of all, let's eat some food. And talk to Emphas again. Sleeper. Emphas calls out to you, a booming voice that echoes through the corridor. Tell me a story. He throws a handful of chopped mushrooms into his wok, the fire leaping up to meet the oil. I see you, cycle in, cycle out, but we never speak. Tell me a story. What kind? Any kind. He pauses to drizzle something from a plastic bottle into the wok. But one of yours, nothing stolen. You pause, the spices rich in your nostrils, and you think about the kind of story you'd like to tell Emphas. You look at Emphas, the listener, and imagine he has heard it all before. Perhaps he would enjoy a strange story, something with some spice. Tell a ghost story. You start simple. You tell Emphas about the routines and structures of life as a sleeper. The SNARP assignments, the freezing cold transport shuttles, the endless, tedious days of work. You make it almost sound normal, as if you weren't all also struggling with your new bodies, your fractured minds, your harrowing depersonalization. This is for effect. Then you explain one assignment, a scrap detail in a factory left to rot for hundreds of cycles. The idea, you tell Emphas, was to rip the place to pieces, turn it all into scrap, and load it into freighters. Most of it was machine work, but they sent a couple of you down deep into the facility on a special order to find the mainframe and disconnect it. You leave a dramatic pause for Emphas' sake. You lean in a little so the smoke of cooking fills your nostrils, and you tell him of the way the place moved, the way it shifted and changed in front of you, the way corridors twisted and pulsed like intestines, and at the rotten heart of it all, you tell him what you found. An empty suit, from which erupted a mass of metal like a tree, like a forest. Great trunks of ribbed steel exploding from the faceplate, buttresses of silicon stretching up into the shadows, and a mainframe that screamed when you cut it out. Emphas finishes cooking and squints a little at you. Sleeper, he smiles. You were quite the storyteller. He eyes you, and you realize that he is trying to gauge how honest you've been in your story. Emphas passes you the meal he has cooked, and you take it gratefully. As you eat, he talks, a natural exchange. Thank you, Sleeper. He looks around at the emptying market. My time's done for today, and I don't want to keep you any longer. So I'll make a proposal. He gestures to the plastic boxes of ingredients stacked behind his stall. These are good enough for most. But someone told me a story that made me think a couple cycles ago. They said that across the gap in the Greenway, fresh mushrooms grow. Have you heard this? No? Neither had I, but I trust the one who told me. Can you bring me some? I can't cross the gap. I worry about leaving my things behind. I'm sure a storyteller like you can handle the trip. I will prepare them for you, and if you wish to tell it, be the audience for another story. Agreed. Good, booms Emphas. Then I will wait for you to bring them. Emphas slides his walk away and straightens up. I will prepare a recipe then, Sleeper. Good luck with your foraging. You turn away and walk back into the main market, the rich taste of Emphas's food still lingering in your mouth. Stories for food, you think? A trade that seems more than fair? Alright. Well, since we have stabilizer and don't need to worry about that so much right now, let's just go ahead and pay the 60 cryo we need to get to the other side of the tollway. You hand over the chits to the Yadigan enforcer, and he nods you through. There's a couple highlights over here. That one just says Low End, the Ramshackle Residential District. The Free Spoke, a towering transport hub. Funny. And Founder's Gap, a gap in the ring station. This is another like toll area to get us across this gap in the circumference, I guess, of the station to get to whatever's on the other side. Let's head to Low End. Block maintenance we have two repeatable actions. Block maintenance. Maintained by the residents, the ramshackle blocks are always in need of repairs. Helping out is a good way to make friends. Or we can play Tavla. Tavla? T-A-V-L-A. Yes. The clack of filter caps can be heard in every concourse of the Low End as the residents play rotating rounds of this game for cryo. It's risky and we're bad at it, so let's not do that. Block maintenance, however, we're good at because we're an engineer. So let's go ahead and fix walls and make friends. Not walls, air filters. You refit the long broken fans of family's air filters. They insist you join them for dinner, and the children are delighted by your presence. What does cyberspace look like on this side? Largely the same. There's a Yadigan agent and a key node over here. Hunter is 5, or at 4 out of 6 ticks, so I don't think I want to fuck around with that right now. On the other hand, like, what else am I gonna do with a 2 and a 1? Oh, there's a new place unlocked. What is this place called? Mingi Express Noodle Factory and Delivery. We can help with noodle manufacturer. Mingi has a kelp stack in the basement, and he makes noodles from the seaweed. He doesn't pay much, but he'll feed anyone who does a shift. And express delivery. Delivering noodles to the nameless units of the Low End takes guts and a certain fearlessness when it comes to asking for tips. Let's... I'm just not really sure what I want to do with a 2 and a 1. Let's do some noodle manufacturer, because we're good at that, and also it's a safe thing. Like, even if we fuck it up and get a negative, nothing bad will happen to us. We'll presumably just waste some noodles. But we got a positive outcome. It doesn't pay as well as the shipping job. It's 8 cryo, but we get energy off of it, which would be great if we weren't full of energy from our chat and chow with Emphas. Rape. What else can we do with a 1? What other safe activities are there even? I think there aren't much. No, that's just the clock for that. Yeah, we could try and manufacture more noodles, I guess. This doesn't... That's not safe. Yeah, I think so. Let's go ahead and manufacture some more noodles, or attempt to. It might not go well. It is a negative outcome. We lost some energy. Or no, we apparently got some energy, but did not get any cryo. You mess up a batch and Mingy docks your pay and makes you eat the results. The noodles are unpleasantly gooey. Okay. Our dice expended. Let's end the cycle. A 6, a 3, a 1, a 2. At least there's a 6 in there. I had kind of hoped that the hunter tracker would have gone down over the course of the day, but apparently that's not the case. I don't enjoy that. The ship that had been docked is gone, so we can't unload stuff from that and make money. Let's work at the shipyard, I think. Let's... Yeah, go ahead. Use our 6 and our 5 to... Or our 6 and our 3, rather. To make a little bit of cryo, not much. And take up that yard hand thing. Our energy is lowering because we're not doing well there. Let's try and make some money and food at the same time at the noodle place. Which went reasonably well. And again. Because right now, the only, like, right now we're sort of hemmed in by waiting for Feng's Ripperworm to do its business, which hopefully it will do before the cycle clock for our hunted happens. We could, I guess, get some local knowledge in Bright Market. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Actually, that might be a good idea to do. So let's end this cycle and see what's next. What time is it? It's 8:52 locally. Let's do one more cycle and then we'll call it for the evening. It is another bad series of rolls. There's a 6 in there and then a 2, a 1, and a 1. So let's go to Bright Market and use that 6, which becomes a 5 because we have a -1 on Intuit. And explore. You keep your attention on the crowd around you as you pass along the bright walkways, taking it all in with an expert eye. This is cranked our local knowledge. And we got a new drive, which is called Build a Ship Mind. You've heard talk of a fabricator owned by the Ort Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mind core. That has indeed opened up this thing called Ort Exchange. Oh, okay, this is what we need the scrap for. Our actions on the Ort Exchange are play the exchange. The flow of chits and components in the exchange is complex, but a sharp eye and some tight trades can net you a good margin. We've found the stock market, unfortunately. I'm very sad to tell you that the stock market also exists here. Or we could sell components. The Ort Exchange is always hungry for new hardware to buy up, break down, and sell off, and you are happy to supply it. There's also a clock. Trusted trader. There's an old shipmine fabrication stack in the back of the market, but only trusted traders get access to it. We don't have anything else to do with this scrap, so let's just go ahead and sell that off. For which we get 12 cryo. A piece? Yeah, a piece. That is not terrible, and it's ticking up that that trust bar. Let's go to the low end and make some friends down here. Kumbaya, it never hurts to help. What the fuck else do I want to do with these ones? I could pull a thing out of cyberspace, I guess. But it's like not gonna be fun or good. And I don't know what happens when the hunter bar fills up. But we can get away with one, so let's go ahead and get away with one. And extract the data from this keynode. And, what? Oh, okay. We've opened up yet another place in the low end, the Tambor Tea House. We cannot get into the Talva room in the Tambor houses, which have some of the best players in the low end. This is a serious high-stakes only play. I'm not good at that game. I haven't even tried to play it. I need a +1 into it to even try to do that thing. Oh, and then on the other side, we have Tracking Heavenage. You've heard that the Yatagan Enforcer based here has been paying low-end residents for information on Heavenage movements. I have some Heavenage data, but I kind of want to hold on to it before I just go selling data sight unseen to people. Seems bad. Free spo. Is that a new thing? Oh yeah, there's a new ship docked over here. Let's have a look at this. They're selling ship mine fragments. We could buy them if we had 60 cryo, which I guess we do. We don't really need them right now. Or if we had a +1 to engage, we could haggle over prices, and maybe make that not be 60 cryo apiece. But we can't do that because we do not have a +1 to engage. So leave that alone. Let's make some noodles. Is the third negative outcome for noodle manufacturer that we have had. I'm surprised they let us keep coming back. But that's the evening. Let's go ahead and end the cycle. Nothing pops up immediately, but Feng is ready to talk to us. So when we come back tomorrow, we'll start with that. I forgot how much I like this game. Not that, like, I remembered liking it. I had forgotten how, like, well written it was. I like the fucking florid ass like use of language. It's nice. It's fun. Yeah. All right. So absolutely going to be doing more of this tomorrow. But until then, that's the stream. I'm in September of the Free Association. And till then, I love you. Keep yourself safe. Find something to do and do it. And Gale is streaming Silverfish something. I forget what it's called exactly. But I'm going to go ahead and send a raid over there if they're still going. Yeah, Project Silverfish, apparently. I'm going to hit that button and start that raid. And I'll see you later.